I'm sharing a placement that is a universal placement for anyone who has long hair, which I'll go over the placement right now. And what we're doing is we're working with highly textured hair. This one's a medium textured hair, I would say. And what I want to do is talk a little bit about formulation. So we've got three things going on. We've got a placement that I'm going to share with you for anyone who has long hair. It's a super fast placement. The technique is what we call foil in. So foil in technique is where you get the most blonding as fast as you possibly can.
Foil N or foil in?
Foil in.
Like I-N, foiling.
I-N, foil in.
So not foiling, but foil in.
It's foiling, foil in. How
Foiling,
about that?
foiling.
You got a double-double. And what that is, what this technique is, it's a way of giving someone who has a starting level who's all over dark, and will give you an effect of a kind of like a lived-in color that it takes 2 or 3 times to achieve. So what we're doing is everything is going into a foil. So while I'm finishing this last couple, I just want to do this one, and then I'll go over everything.
So you just pre-done a few panels to save time, but you're going to demonstrate everything.
I will demonstrate. So the foil in, this is what I will show you. Okay, let me turn so that you can see what I'm doing. So this is what I'm doing with every parting, and then we'll get into the sectioning. So look at how big and chunky that is. So what I'm counting on, because of this texture, look at how beautiful this texture is. I was going to do my girlfriend's hair, but I had just done her hair, and I kicked myself because I should have just waited. So Christina has the same.
You know we love pivot point mannequins.
I do love the pivot point mannequins.
Great lessons all the time.
And what I would suggest is that you get this mannequin. Her name is Janet.
Yeah, that's Janet.
Janet, yes. So get Janet and then practice this technique. This texture is so beautiful. So I do have some before pictures that I'll post. Look at how big and meaty this section is. This is what I like on highly textured hair, because I want to keep, not highly textured hair, just textured hair in general. I like to keep a deeper base that's shadowed. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take this, and her body position is everything. I'm going to ask her to tilt forward just slightly and then to me. Now, what I'll do is, and these are some tips that I use on other hair brain lives that we've done before. What I'm looking at is I'm making sure that I'm standing in the place that I need to be, and that's where the haircut goes flat to my fingers. So that tells me whoever cut her hair
versus some. Could you show us like another position that might be wrong?
Versus this would be the wrong place to stand. You can see the haircut's going like this. I don't want to take any dimension or anything here, because if I do and I do my back combing and paint, I'm putting a horizontal line on something that falls at a diagonal. It was cut, so I'm actually coloring for the haircut.
So you have to be able to read the haircut and then put yourself in the right body position.
Right here.
Otherwise, with the back combing that you do, you get like weird lines.
Yes, and I'll show you. It's visual. What we're doing, so a hair cutter, I'll always refer to hair cutting. I do like that. A hair cutter, if you hold it down, it's the heaviest, right? That's where you're gonna get your heaviest. If you hold this down in back comb, you're only gonna get the tip. If you take this at a 45, thinking about when you start graduation, and you do this, you're going to get more halfway through the head. Up, so you're gonna go a little bit higher. If you pull this out at a 90 and do this, you're able to get it as close to the scalp as you possibly can. So what we're doing today is, there's no hair left behind in this. So everything that you see here, team, is in a foil. So this is what we're doing. I'm going to take my parting, I'll do a strong weave effect, which that leaves 2, and I've got 3. We're using 2 formulas. The first one is a high lift with 20 volume. In color space, our language for our high lift, light and high lift, we have 12.11 with primary clear. So we've got half and half, and I mixed 1 to 2 with 20 volume. Okay, so I'm here pulling this down at a 45 because I want to create variation. This one's at a 45, I'm going to back comb to here. This one is going to be at a 90, and I'm going to back comb all the way down. So when I drop this down, I just created a shadowed root. So I don't have to go back and do it with my toner.
It's like 3-dimensional color. I mean, we talk about hair cutting all the time, being 3-dimensional, your over direction, your elevation. And so you're using over direction to read the shape.
To read the shape.
Where you're directing the hair.
Yep.
And then using different elevations because with the back combing, that'll give you a different effect.
Yes.
If you back comb very low versus very high,
Yes.
you get a different effect.
And that's why
I like it.
Gerard, you could totally do this. I think that if you turn your hair cutting brain into a color brain, you would totally do it. If I mixed up your formulas for you and I directed you, it's just like hair cutting. All right, so this is my high lift formula. We have 12.11 with 20 volume with primary clear. Not equal parts, I'm so sorry, 1 to 2. So here we go. Now, one thing about textured hair. In our program today, what we're going to do is share a little bit of tips on what I look for when I'm doing textured hair. Textured hair has the ability to absorb moisture really, really quickly. So you can see how much product. I'm going to just kind of sit and talk with you for a little bit. You can start seeing how the hair is sucking up the product. What I do is I'll keep moving this back and forth, and I'm actually counting on the hair to absorb some of this product. I will not fold up until I know it's stopped absorbing. This is what happens. Hair color, powder lighteners, when it's wet, it's working. When it's dry, it's dead. So what you want to do is make sure that this is thoroughly saturated. You can see it's not sucking up anymore.
So there's no rushing through this.
There's no rushing through this placement, because if you have ever done textured hair and you're like, why didn't this lift? There could be 2 reasons. It's not light enough. It's not that it didn't lift. It's not light enough. Well, there's 3 reasons. It's not light enough because the formula was incorrect. The second one is your partings or your weaves were too small and the curl and the texture is eating it up. So the light doesn't show it to you. The next reason why is the product got absorbed and it stopped working. That is something that I learned the hard way. All right, so now I'm doing back combing, but I'm not using the comb. I'm going to put this down so that you guys can see.
And I've noticed that you're kind of finger teasing the hair,
Yes,
finger back
I'm
combing.
kind of like naturally I'm counting on the natural texture, and I'm really moving. We did an amazing hair bun live, if you guys remember, with the Mona cut. Okay, I'm moving this down. I'm pushing that down.
It was just a few weeks ago in New York. And again, as I mentioned, guys, you can always, you don't have to scroll back through the thousands of posts here on our feed. You can click on the live. Thanks for putting this plant right.
Right at your head.
You can click on, there's a little button on the top of our Facebook page that says live. If you click on that, you'll see every live we've ever done, and there's like literally thousands. I don't think enough people realize how much incredible education. I mean, Lupe alone has probably done hundreds, and then there's other artists from all over. So you can learn a ton.
You guys, it's free 99. Free 99. Come on, go on there. I've done a lot of these, and you can go back and see all the foiling stuff I do. I really love sharing tips on how to be successful. All right.
I'm curious about what is the difference between using your comb to back comb versus using your finger?
You can totally use your comb on this to do the back combing, but I will tell you on textured hair, it can naturally be drier, more fragile, which I call fragile. And if it is, back combing could really break the hair. So I find just gently moving it with your finger is enough, because all you really want to do is move it out of the way. You just want to move that hair out of the way gently so that when it comes back, it gives you a seamless blend. I'm counting on that for my shadow. Now remember, this one, look at how much shadow there is. That's gonna help me with the shadow root. This one, I'm taking it higher. And when they fall back together, they're gonna melt, they're gonna blend, and then I'm gonna have that shadow in there. So in the after photos, I'll do that. Now look how much that's absorbed into that hair. Can you see how it changed? It changes quickly. So that's what I want you to focus on while I'm talking to you. What I want you to focus on is when I paint this on, I want you to see how it absorbs. So now that tells me I need to add more product. So here I go. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just was going to note that the amazing team at Color Space has linked the Mona Cut live.
Oh, yay.
Awesome. Thank you, team.
So I'm going to share with you some things that I did learn because I watched Mona. I got to work with her, and I have to tell you there's 2 things that I took back that was pretty amazing.
Some aha moments?
That's going to help with color. Yeah, but that she does it for her hair cutting moments, and it's beautiful. Okay, team, this green fabulous product is our freehand powder lightener. So what I'm doing is I'm using it in a foil, and I'll tell you why I'm using the freehand, which is green. It's a green gum base, It encapsulates moisture. So this team will give you up to 7 levels of lift, and it's no BS. So I've got a very low developer. We've got 10 volume with this 10 volume, and I promise you when we're finished, you're gonna be shocked how much lift that we're getting. So we're done on this side. So here we only have 4 foils on this side. So we've got our low and our high. This one is our high lift blonde, and this one is our freehand power light.
Oh, so you're working with 2 formulas.
2 formulas for this.
So this is the high lift, and then the green. I know the green by now.
Yep.
And it's, you know, a lot of the ones that I've seen over the years are based on like clay. The freehand lighteners have like they make a clay coating.
Yes.
And your color space one is a little bit different. It's because of the gum.
It is a gum base. So you get the texture and you get the freehand painting from, look at that. It's a really nice texture. And I'm gonna show you how to mix it once I'm done with this one. So this team, we're going to incorporate in a second. Now, let's show you what I did in the back.
Shout out, hey Lupe from Jessica Boyk.
Hi.
Again, guys, if you have any questions or want to share your thoughts, go ahead and type them in and I'll share them with Lupe. You did this on purpose, right? Hey.
You guys, we're gonna watch Gerard have a succulent come out of his head.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna take a diagonal parting team. This is how fast this is. I did this section probably I'd say that side in less than 15 minutes. All right, so here we go. And you can see how long her hair is. All right, let me make sure I'm standing in the right place. All right, look at how tight her texture is. And I'll give you a little bit of tips in a minute. So one thing that I really learned from Mona's, okay, here we go. We're gonna take our strong weave effect. This team, I'm not gonna foil until the end. So let me put this away and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So let's put that there. So this one, I'm gonna take my fingers again, and I'm just like a comb, I'm sticking my fingers inside here, and I'm just pushing that hair out of the way. I'm just lightly pushing. I'm not back combing. If I were to do this on textured hair, especially if someone has different types of texture, like there's not one thing that I did learn from Mona, there's not one texture that's even across the hair. Even this mannequin underneath here, her hair is a little bit tighter of a texture. So I would rather use my fingers and get a really nice, I'm in control of how much hair I'm moving out of the way. And I'm not damaging the hair. So this team, these first 2 foils are going to be our 12.11. This is our high lift series. Okay, now I want you to pay attention to how the hair absorbs this color team. I want you to watch, because if you don't put enough product on and it dries out,
You're gonna be sorry.
You're gonna be sorry, you're not gonna get the lift. So that could be one of the reasons why you're not getting enough lift. Remember, the next reason why, the very important tip, is how big of a section are you taking? Because curl will disappear. Curl will take your highlight and eat it up. So the highlight will disappear. The curl will eat it up. Okay, so I'm rolling it back and forth. Here we go. This is the movement. Apply your product with your brush flat. Roll it back and forth. Watch what I did with my fingers. I took my brush and I spun it. I spun it this way vertically, and I'm rolling it back and forth. This team, this is why our brushes have a spiral. You can see the spiral. We had an industrial designer create these brushes for us so that when you apply, you spin and roll it back and forth. There's a reason why we have those spirals. Here we go.
If you're just joining us, we're here again with Lupe Voss, sharing incredible color education. Lupe is the co-founder of a color brand, along with Ray Chavello, a color brand called Color Space. It's something that was kind of her dream, and she worked on it for years with chemists. And congratulations, Lupe, elevating the craft. It was just published in a science journal.
Yes.
Claps.
A science journal that has nothing to do with the beauty industry.
Applause, applause.
Her and some of her team at Color Space wrote a paper, kind of like a thesis, I think they call
it's a thesis.
about hair color, and was actually submitted and accepted in a scientific journal about color.
Yes.
Look at the big brains on Lupe.
Yeah.
Big braids.
Who would've thought, right? There's like 2 groups in my family. We got book smart and street smart. I ain't book smart. Okay, here we go. So we've got, so again, I took my weave, I pulled it off to the side. I'm going to show you why in a second. This is how fast and how textured this would be. Now I'm only using color under, not only, What I'm using is I'm focusing on the high lift under here because I want my focal point and the brightness to be the top in a face frame. So I'm choosing, I mapped out in my head when I would use the high lift. And this is where I would use the high lift because I don't want it to be my focal point. Okay? So again, I'm holding this one up because this is the one that's going tight. I'm going to use my fingers and I'm pushing all the way down. Yes, that paper, if you want to read that paper, go to my Instagram. And in my bio, I have the link in team. It's written about you. It's written about you and the relationship you have with your color. And then the relationship that you have with your clients. Think about your clients. And then the relationship that you have, your clients have with their color. So this is dedicated to you guys, that paper. It's the first paper that's been written about our actual relationship with color. All right, so here we go.
I have a question, Lupe,
Yes.
or just a clarification maybe. So your high lift is going to be more subtle than your freehand liner.
Yes, yes, because I'm not going to get as much lift. This actually will lift and deposit level and tone. So this will take her to probably an 8. This will take her to an 8. And this is what's, okay, now look at how it's sucking up that hair. That hair is sucking up that color. You can see it. You can see how it's doing it. So I'm going to give it a second. I'm going to let it simmer, let it breathe, let it do its thing.
That was a little bit of a Brooklyn accent.
Yeah,
Simmer.
I like that simmer. Simmer down now. Okay, now I'm going to pick up more product and I'm going to apply it again. So this one, high lift gives you a mid color. Because remember, she's not going to have anything left. Everything on her head's going to be colored except for her root. All right, now you can see how, okay, that's really nice and saturated. I'm looking at it to make sure I can move forward. Here we go. So now I'll sandwich. I don't want to fold. I
was going to ask, why not folding? Why this approach?
I think once you start folding, it's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work because and then when you're done and you're going to slide them out in the shampoo bowl, it's a lot easier. But also,
But not always. I mean, you fold your foils, or you,
I do.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, in this foliage type of a technique, what I'm going to do, and especially on her hair, if she's finished, I'm going to wipe off her hair and let the rest catch up. I'm going to stop it.
So this is another special product from your line, Color
Yes.
Space. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like this.
No.
I might be wrong, but
No.
I think you guys are the only ones who created that, right?
Yep. And this is a spray that actually stops the process. Okay, so now I'm taking the hair that's in between, and that's only in this from above the occipital down. I'm just taking this. I'm going to move over. Remember, I'm walking. Let me move this over a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. One more click. Here. Okay, Cal, ready? So I'm going to take this, I'm moving this, and I'm just halfway through. I'm going to gently, so I'm holding this gently, and I'm going to slide this hair out of the way. So I'm moving that hair, and all I'm going to do is that. I'm going to color that.
So this is going to be quite bright.
This is
All
gonna be-
the hair is going to be colored except for the
All
roots,
hair
like you just
except for the
mentioned,
root. So
with
it's
your
gonna look
two
like
different
this.
tones.
I'm going to give her a shadow root, and we're using 2 colors.
How
So
fun!
This is why we're using 2 colors. Has anyone asked why we're using 2 colors? No. So,
Why are we using 2
Oh,
colors?
that's a great question. The reason why we're using 2 colors is this helps from having to tone. This is what's really cool about this. I know, just out of experience, that this powder lightener here, the green gum-based powder lightener, is going to lift it to probably a 6, I would say 6, maybe 8. This one might go to an 8. And it has that green in there that's going to help counteract any red in the hair. And I want to have, it's fall, y'all, I want to have a warm reflection. So I'm counting on this to give me all the tone. This is going to give me the lip. So when the hair starts to wrap around itself, it's going to have a really pretty golden reflection. So the reason why I'm doing 2 is that I won't have to gloss. So now I don't have to create a shadow root because of my technique, so I'm saving time. And I don't have to gloss because of my formulation. So this is a really straightforward application. All right, so here is the tips that are from those 2 foils, and that's from the crown down.
Can you tell us a little bit about the high lift? I'm assuming is this a high lift, the 12.11?
Yes, the
So-
12.11, and then we have primary clear. So there's two. This one is a clear high lift here. This one's the clear high lift, and what G has.
Clear high lift?
Clear high lift. This
What does
has
that mean
no.
exactly?
This has no level, no tone.
What,
and
it
I'm
just
gonna give
lifts
you.
hair?
Yeah, it has an alkalizer. It's ammonia. So let me give you some science.
Applause.
You ready?
Since you've been published in a science journal.
Since let me tell you about the science. So this is what's interesting, and I'll tell you why. And the reason why I know this is because we have great chemists. All right. So now this is where I start doing that oil in technique. Okay. The reason why clear is it lifts. It's kind of like a booster. Clear. Anytime you have an alkalizer like ammonia, and you're adding tone or level, it takes the ammonia power down. So we have 12.11, which has a lot of ammonia. It's a high lift. But because it has level and tone, it doesn't give you as much lift. So I'll mix some of this clear with it, and that's what gives it more of the lift.
Can you use clear alone?
You can use clear alone.
And what will that do?
It'll give you, like on a level, starting level 6, 7, 8, it'll give you the most beautiful butter blonde.
Just a natural
Oh,
lift.
yeah. Okay.
And would that be on natural hair only? If it's color treated and you use the zero,
Good question. Good question.
if it's color treated and you use the zero high lift, what can you expect?
You can expect what we call, at Color Space, we call that a polishing formula. Color doesn't lift color, but it shifts it. Shift happens. So
Shift.
shift happens. You can do clear with 20 volume over previously colored hair. It'll shift out some of that color and it'll use what's in the hair as the toner. If you have ends that brown out, primary clear, 20 volume, shifts it out. If you have reds that are browned out, shifts it out. Our zero clear shifts it out too, but it's more gentle. Okay, we're gonna mix some of our color because look,
She's out.
She is out.
All right, guys, if you haven't seen this before, you want to watch it because Color Space has a proprietary system that's really quite awesome of how they mix their color using what they call a Unimix.
So this is our beautiful Unimix. So we have, I have 20 grams of 12.11, 20 grams of clear, and then we have 80 mils of 20 volume. So our high lift is 1 to 2. We've got our our zero primary that's going to give it the power. So this is what we have. We have a temperature button. This temperature button brings the product up to body temp. So that's what this is doing. This is mixing
for
it.
it to be at body temp?
I'll tell you, we have a dermatologist that we work with, and he tested this. The first 10 minutes, it takes 10 minutes. Okay, everybody's had cold color put on. Let me do this and I'll talk to you while it's mixing. So this is our temperature, and we have a magnet. This is the magnet. We have one that's in there. So what it's doing, it's spinning around. So while it's spinning, I'll tell you why. The temperature button is only for color, never for your powder lighteners. That's one. The reason why there's a temperature button, it brings it up to body temp. If you put cold color on someone's scalp, you're going to start a sensitivity. Most people who get itching or they itch after, they call it an allergic reaction. It's not an allergic reaction. That's a sensitivity. So the sensitivity happens from developers. It can happen from it starting to be cold, and it will start that process of a sensitivity. So this is taking it to body temp. This is what's really interesting. This is a lot. I've learned a lot from our chemists. Our guys are so cool. They're really cool. Okay, so color has to sit on your hair at least for 10 minutes before it starts working. It has to be taken to body temperature before color starts to actually process. So what we've done is we've got it to body temp. So this is what
It starts working automatically as soon as you apply it on the head.
So on our color, sometimes it'll feel like there's movement happening, or it feels a little itchy, or you can just, the only way I can describe it is like it feels like something's moving, and that's it already processing and working. Usually it's gradual. So when you put it on and it's cold, you're not really feeling it, and then as it starts to process, it won't. So this mixes for 2 minutes. This mixes for 2 minutes, and I won't mess it around. So when we mix our powder lightener, when I'm ready to mix this, you do not hit the temperature button. And this texture is no BS. Check it out. So look at how pretty this texture is. It's so creamy. And our developers have shea butter. And that's another thing I was gonna talk to you about. One of the reasons why our color line does really well with textured hair is because of the shea butter. Okay, so it mixes for 2 minutes so you can eat lunch. How about that?
That's too much time.
That's way too
What are
much
you gonna do with the extra minute?
Oh, social media, you have to do your post,
Yeah,
right?
you're gonna have to edit. You have 1 minute for lunch and 1 minute to edit a reel. This is the life of the
That's the
hairdresser.
life of a hairdresser. So for 2 minutes, what can you do for 2 minutes? I know. Okay, so I'm holding this down, remember? Because I want it just to be at the tip. And I want to use this as my shadow. Here we go. And I'm going to do this and we'll apply. Look at how buttery. Look at how nice that is.
So I believe House Salon is wondering if this is metal, if the bowl is metal.
Hi,
And-
House. So these bowls, thank you for asking, that the bowls are stainless steel. And let me tell you why. I was trying not to be Debbie Downer and talk about it, but I am. So here we go. So the bowls, team, the bowls are stainless steel. They're not plastic. When we get a whisk and we start whisking on those plastic bowls, what we're doing is we're creating
Microplastics,
microplastics,
yeah.
yes, and we're painting it on our client's head. And then we're shampooing it and it's going into the ocean.
And this plate is also metal.
Yes, yes, that's what heats it up.
So everything's stainless steel.
Everything is stainless
so
steel.
that you don't get the microplastics.
We don't get the
So
microplastics.
It's a
And
small thing, but it's a big thing.
it is a
because
big thing,
microplastics are
yeah.
destroying our planet.
It really is. And the other thing, ready? It's safe to mix in these bowls. If you go into a lab, so this one, you guys, I'm taking all the way down to the scalp. I'm moving it with my fingers. It's not tight. It's just, and it just gently just pushes it. So I have enough cushion so that when I comb it, it's coming out. So if you go into a lab team, okay, real quick, I'm gonna do this and then I'll finish. If you remind me, G, okay? So I'm lifting this up out of the way. I'm inserting my foil. This is getting pulled down to the ground and I'm pulling this up. And then follow the head shape. What I'm doing is I'm helping getting this back combing behind the foil. Okay, so that's that. All right, so I'm gonna paint this and I'll look for it to drink up the product and then we'll keep going. All right, so so if you go into a lab where they're mixing color, there are big vats, like to the silos. They're huge vats. They're stainless steel. Our color gets mixed in this stainless steel. They're not nickel. They're not anything that is dangerous when the chemical hits it. If anything, this aluminum will get more of a reaction than this bowl. So these are safe to mix in. They're stainless steel. I am going to ask everyone, I'm going to put you guys to the table. Start mixing out of porcelain or glass. Don't mix in a plastic. All right, here we go. So again, can you see how it sucks it up, Kel?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy? So we're letting it drink. Give it a minute to drink. I just got some on me. All right, and then roll it back and forth. Again, our brushes, check them out. The brushes have that little spiral so that when I apply here, I spin it and I can roll it back and forth. It's good for our hands. These brushes are so good for our hands. All right, so roll it back and forth. Make sure that I'm getting it really saturated. You want to make sure that there's enough product. And again, the reason why I am using a free hand is I'm not going for up to 9 levels of lift. If I wanted her hair wet or white, that's when I would do this with silver powder lightener. This one is the free hand. So this one's gonna give me 7 levels of lift. It's enough lift. It has gum base, it has guar gum and xanthan gum. So it has more of a moisturizing property along with our shea butter. So that's why I chose this. If this green base, if I wanted something that was lighter levels, then I would go with my silver powder lightener. This one is the one that's the violet blue base with the lower developer, 10 volume. You guys, you get, here's some more of our chemistry. What you do is you get the lift from the powder, not the developer. Your developer is the gas in the car. Okay, so here's our parting. I'm going to take my strong weave effect, pull away the one that is going to be to the scalp. This one is the one that I'm going to hold down. And again, just real lightly do this. And I only want to get it to here, so I'm not going to push it too much. The more you push back, the less color you're gonna get, and this is gonna be our high lift. Here we go. So the stock product is what I would spray on if this was finished. The minute that this is finished, I'm gonna check. The minute I'm done with applying all of my products, I'll check my first foil. And if it's finished, what I'm going to do is spray stop. And it stops all of the chemical process and lets the rest of your foils catch up. So Stop Liquid has manganese gluconate in it, and it's pretty freaking amazing. So if you're doing foil work and you're worried about some of the hair lifting up faster than the other, all you need to do is grab some Stop and spray it. Okay?
Lupe, just a general question as the founder of this color line, color space. If there was a salon owner, studio owner, independent stylist, anyone out there who's thinking, you know what, I want a new color line, I've heard about this color space, I see it all the time on Hairbrained, I love Lupe's education. What would you tell them in general about the line? Like what's going to make it great for them?
What I think what's great, first of all, we have a really cool intermixable hair color. We've got science that backs up the color line. So if you want, as a salon owner, to inspire your staff, if they're feeling like they're doing the same thing all the time and the color is like the color, and you want to inspire them and get them excited about a tool that can do a lot for them, that's something that has innovation. Something that has innovation, something that's new. There's something that happens, it's kind of like getting a brand new baby. So this brand new baby has a lot of innovation. We teach a lot of the science of why the product works. Not just how to mix it and put it on, it's why it works. So understanding that we have two permanent colors. We have zero ammonia free, which is a ammonia free color. It's talking about the alkalizers and what they do. This is an MEA alkalizer and why it's so different with our ammonia line. The white box is the ammonia line, the alkalizer is ammonia. Not many people understand that you can intermix two alkalizers at a time. Our 3D, which is our new Demi that we're launching, that's our third alkalizer. We only have 3 alkalizers that are available in our industry. But the thing is, most people don't know that the chemistry behind it is you can intermix 2 of the alkalizers at a time. So now you've got a zero ammonia free, and you've got a primary ammonia color, and now you've got a new color line because you can intermix them. It's fabulous. So I say the innovations, like a spray stop, I mean, come on, a gun-based freehand powder lightener that encapsulates moisture and still can give you seven levels of lift, it's pretty amazing. You know, the shea butter, thinking about all textures of hair, how the shea butter is amazing for textured hair. And it's great for straight hair because it doesn't dry it just doesn't dry it out. It's hydrating and repairing. So we look at the new innovations, and it's not just ingredients, it's the technology behind it and why they work. I think our education is.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Like, what about the people who supports? Because it's scary to try new color, and you know, if it just gets dropped off in a box and all of a sudden you're supposed to figure it out. So how do you guys help people to understand how to use it?
Education.
What's the education like? Obviously, you're known for education. It's something that you've been doing for 30 years with hair color. We've done it together for many, many years. So, but you can't be everywhere. So how does it go from you to the masses?
So I have this amazing team that I've been working with for the last 15, some of them 17 years. Amazing colorists, amazing. Real quick, I'm going to show you this. So what we worked on already, ready? We did the left side and this side. Now we did this left or right side. Now I'm at the triangle. I'm taking this big, chunky, meaty section, strong weave effect, and I'm doing the same. One down, one high. Good? All right, but I am going to keep the crown a little bit of shadow. So this one is going to be dragged down. This one isn't going to be straight up. It's going to be at a 45. So this one's at a 0. This one's at a 45.
So for the people just joining, can you explain the elevation again? Because it's kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah. So thinking about hair cutting, if you're going to cut a 0, that's your heaviest weight line. If I were to pull this down and back comb this up, I can't get any higher than that. So this is my heaviest. This is just the tip. If I wanted to go halfway down the hair shaft, just like where you start getting graduation, I would pull this at a 45, right where I want to see the highlight. That's where I do my back combing. So that takes me halfway up the hair shaft. If I wanted it all the way to the root, I would comb this out at a 90. Think about 90 when you layer, it takes all the weight out. That way I can get all the way down to the root. So this is gonna be my low, and this one and the other ones were my high, so that when this came down, I created a shadowed root by how I did my technique, not having to go back and do it with your product. Okay, so education. I have this, I'm telling you, not I have a team. So Ray and I, when we got together and we decided to do this, we said we are going to, because both of us being salon owners, and both of us being in the industry, and both of us being educators in our careers, knew how important education is. We know it feeds it's our craft, or this is a craft, you have to keep practicing it. So we have the most amazing trainers that I've worked with for like 15 to 17 years, and we have new ones that are on the team that we're teaching them how to teach. It's so much fun. We've studied how people learn. We've done all of our homework, and we have so much education. We have virtual, because we understand there's people who want virtual. We have in-salon cluster classes, because we know that some people are somatic learners and they have to do this, and they have to stand right here over your shoulder to make sure that they got it right. Okay, so this was my 0. This one's my 45 team. So you can see how this is gonna drag. These underneath, I brought up higher so that when this comes down, you're gonna be able to see through it. I have an option to do nothing. So I have an option to do nothing, but I really want her to be light all over. So I'm gonna take this at a 45. Let me comb it with my fingers. So she's at a 45, and look at how I'm standing right behind it. I'm not off to the side. If I went this way, I would create a line this way. If I went this way, I would create a line that way. It's not wrong if that's what you want, but she's gonna be straight behind. Okay, so then at a 45, right where I want, this is important, when I'm using my fingers for back combing, even a comb, right where I want the highlight to start is where my fingers go. Not down here, because then you're gonna remove too much color, or too much highlight. Okay, so right where I want the highlight to start, and what I'm doing is I'm visually seeing this, so it's gonna be here. So see this foil here, this here, so I want it to be here. So here, hold this lightly and just gently push up. So I'm moving that hair out of the way. Okay, and you can do it with one finger, you can do it this way. When I was with Mona, this is what we did with our model this. All right, so the education aspect of what it is, color space, we really focus on the science. And it's not just, and it's the innovation that we want to make sure that everyone understands. I had someone tell me, quit teaching them what's in it, just teach them how to use it. And I'm like, no, because as colorists, if we know what it is, and we'll know how to manipulate it. Because come on, how many of you all are mixing stuff that you're not supposed to be mixing together and don't know why it works? Okay, so I'm running out of product, so I get to mix some freehand for you. All right, here, here, here. Make sure it's really saturated here. I'm gonna have to go back and resaturate this one.
Is there a reason why you just didn't have a massive bowl of lightener?
I like to mix a little bit and often, and I'll tell you why. Even with your high lift, you get the most lift in the first 20 minutes. So you want to make sure that if you've got a big bowl and you're not moving fast, you're going to lose all of your power. And it's not bad, it just means that you're going to have to let it sit a little bit longer. So even on your last section, you should really be going in with a new bowl. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I will revisit this one because I want to make sure. So when I do this, what I do is I'll just slide this to seal it, slide that to seal it. So that back is complete. Let's mix up some of this green gum-based powder lightener. Let me show you how amazing this stuff is. So here we go. So if you notice, what we've done is I've put the magnet in, I measured my developer, and what I'll do is I'll hit the spin button. So now this is mixing.
Now you don't heat this.
You do not heat.
Why do you not heat lightener?
So the persulfates are what your active ingredients are in your powder lightener. Your persulfates are what give you lift. It says do not use heat. If you look at all your powder lighteners, it says do not use heat. And the reason why, you're creating an unstable environment. The bleach doesn't burn the people. What burns the people, well, yeah, it does. But what happens is if it gets too hot, if you mix 1-to-1, that's dangerous because the temperature can rise, and that's when bleach liquefies, and that's what leaks out and gets onto the scalp, and that's when you'll start getting burns. So what you want to do is make sure you can do 1 to 1.5, safe. 1 to 2, that's what manufacturers recommend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, and then watch. I'm just taking my brush and I'm gliding the powder off and wiping off that magnet. And I'm letting this machine do all the work because I like it. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to add a little bit more. It's kind of like baking. This is what's amazing about our powder lighteners. Both powder lighteners have a built-in conditioner. It's called Plex. It's already inside. When it gets shiny, you know that Plex is actually activated. This machine is meant to help you mix all the intended ingredients for high performance. So that's one of the reasons.
So you're not going to be picking off no clumps of lightener?
No. And this is the thing, like, come on, I've done it. Like, I've foiled and I'm like, oh, there's a big little chunky monkey, and I'll like massage it into the hair and I think, gotcha. But what happens is, that's what gives you the lift. That powder is what gives you the lift. It's the car. The developer is the gas. Most people use 30 and 40 volume with their powder lighteners. You really don't need to because you're getting the lift with your powder. If you want more lift, you want a stronger bowl of powder lightener, mix 1 to 1.5 instead of 1 to 2. Most of us mix for texture. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more. Whip it up. I'm kind of like helping get all this stuff mixed up inside of here. Now normally I would like it a little bit thicker if I was hand painting. So I could actually do 1 to 1.5. This is 1 to 2. I want that creaminess to help massage through the hair. I want the hair to drink it up. And that shea butter is what's helping me. Okay, so a little bit more. And then whip it around. So you do not want to use heat with your powder lighteners. You'll start an unstable environment. And it is really, it's a chemical. It really is a chemical. But we have a really strong team of really smart people. We have a gentleman named Max who does our science, we call them expert lives. We meet twice a month for an hour. We'll either do formulation questions, we'll do, the educators will do formulation, consultation, business practices. It's really fun. It's free education. And then Max, and every once in a while, we'll do some chemistry. And we have one on sulfates. And he has images. There's these cross sections of what happens to the hair when you put powder lightener on them. It's really interesting. So that goes along with all the other education. So what we have in-salon classes, going back to what you had asked me. In-salon classes, we do our hair brain lives, of course. We have virtual. You can book out and schedule your salon to have virtuals with one of the trainers. And we have our in-salon classes.
But you still have not mentioned my favorite aspect of Color Space Hair, the hotline.
Oh,
the hotline is my favorite.
You're so good.
Who does the hotline?
No,
Color Space.
Okay, so
Color Space.
We have
You're in a jam.
Hotline. Ready? Our hotline is run by our colorists,
including you.
I'm on hotline Thursdays and Fridays. So when I'm done today.
Okay, people, this is for real. We'll be sitting having lunch
The
together.
hotline is the best.
Lube will pick up the phone, Color Space Hotline, people will be like, well, I have a question about my formula, and she actually helps them with the formula.
Who does that? Color Space.
Color Space does, yeah.
That's really something.
This is the best. It's my favorite.
We're sitting there eating lunch, we're like, really? You're gonna, really? And I was like, yeah. So the colorists are who answer the phones. Okay, so here we go. I'm in the front. Here I am. I used her cheekbone here, so I'm going to use her cheekbone on this side. This is my first foil. Remember, I'm looking to see where she was cut, and it's right here. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to massage this up gently because I want to create that shadow, and that's going to be our first. So this is our high lift. Here we go. Yeah, so if anyone wants to call our hotline number on Thursdays and Fridays, I'll be there. So if you go to colorspacehair.com, what you do is log in. If you want more information, we have people that will contact you. Log in, put your contact information in, and we will get to you. Okay, here we go. Here. And I really can't speak enough about our amazing team. Our educators are hands down the most amazing, open, genuinely nice, caring, no ego people. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna
The no ego is absolutely true.
there's no ego. And they are so there to help everybody. Okay, so now this one team is the one this is our free hand, and this one I want to take. So I pulled it out at a 90. Watch my fingers, I'm pushing all the way down. All right, I'm gonna use my comb to assist to pull down all this hair out of the way. So lift it out from where it grows, slide it down to the ground, up and over, get all of this hair out of the way. So now I can paint right on top of that. Let me turn her a little bit more close so you can see. Better? Okay, so I'm painting, and again, I'm gonna paint and watch. I want you to really pay attention how much this hair will drink up this powder lightener. Okay, look at how thick that is, watch. Here, let me roll it back and forth. It's really nice and saturated, and you'll see how this hair will drink it up. So this tip for you is, if you are putting your product on, let it set, let it simmer. See, you can see how it's already drinking it up right in through here. You can see, so that tells me pick up more and apply it, roll it back and forth, roll it back and forth. Get everything saturated, move that hair around.
So you're fine. This is it after you put in all your foils and your high lift and your lightener. There's no more color process after this.
No, you let her process, shampoo it out.
Toning, nothing.
I don't need to tone her because I've already got that second color in there. This high lift is gonna have the tone that it needs. Okay, so that's one. And remember, this is the big chunky one. This is that meaty piece. So I'm going to do a strong wave effect here. Look at how fast this is. So here, read the haircut.
It's basically like about 4 foils or so per section. Minus
per section. You're absolutely correct. Okay, so here, this is the hair color. This is our high lift. Again, it's 12.11 with clear. Okay, here we go. And again, this one, this I'll tell you, the shea butter, I can't even, oh.
And your high lift is going to be your deeper tone.
Yes, this one's going to be the deeper of the two blondes. All right, and it's going to be more caramel, how do you, wherever you're from, however you want to say it.
Potato.
All right, so I'm going to share with you something that I learned from Mona, and I started doing it with my hair color. And we are going to create a class built around this. Max and I are working on it. When I was with Mona, she prepared a model for me. And what she did, because our model had product in the hair, and Mona cleansed and clarified our model so that her hair was clean.
And ready for the color.
Ready for the color. Most people don't know that we can color on wet hair. Most people don't know. Do you see how I just did this? Don't ever do that to your client. I'm sorry, Mannequin. Right, let me grab her neck and let's do this. All right. So most people don't understand that you can color over on wet hair. Not dripping wet, but damp. So see how I'm just gently pushing? This is what it would be. My fingers, when I put them in and I tighten them, it's just gently pulling them together. I have a crooked finger. Just like that. Okay.
I'll show you mine later.
So I'm pushing this down to the scalp. Now remember, I'm counting on this cushion. When I'm done, it's going to be my shadow. Okay? So pull this straight up. I'm going to use my comb to assist to get that back combing out of the way. Here we go. This is it, the step. Pull it away, halfway down the hair shaft, straight down to the ground with my left hand, up to the ceiling with my right, and then I'm moving all of this back combing up and over. So what I've been doing, and I want you, if you're one of our color space salons, I really want you to try this. So if someone has a lot of product in their hair, go ahead and give them a gentle shampoo. Just gently shampoo them with, I want to say, either from Bob, if you have Bob shampoo, if you do have our Bob shampoo, either the ID that shampoo, and then just gently shampoo them. Get
And when you mean gently, do you mean you're not manipulating the scalp so much?
You don't want to change their life kind of shampoo. You just want to just get the product out of the hair and off their scalp. If you're using any of our products, I would love for you to try that, our color. So then condition them, rinse that out, put them in a little towel wrap, then go comb them out, put the towel back on their hair, go mix up their product, go mix up their formula after they're shampooed. And then what you'll see, you don't have to blow dry their hair again. Just do that, take the towel down, make sure they're not dripping wet, it has to be towel dried, and then apply the color. And you'll see how beautiful. My redheads, the reds are even prettier. We have a long lasting, one of the reasons why our color lasts so long is we have a product called Stop Cream Oxidization Stopper. This is a post-color conditioner. So we have the Stop Liquid, which is a working stop. When I was done, wipe it off, we're good. It'll stop any processing in the hair. This team is the Stop Cream. This is the final conditioner that you would use after you're done shampooing out color. This has manganese gluconate in it and is shea butter base to it. So this shuts down the cuticle. There's tons of pH normalizers out there, tons. What makes ours special, and earlier we talked about innovations and what makes Color Space special, is the innovations. The manganese gluconate goes in and it stops all the chemical action. So it just doesn't pH normalize and shut the cuticle down. It kills all the chemicals that are in the hair so that when you shut down the cuticle, it's not trapping that chemical in the hair. This is the thing about color. Earlier I said when it's wet, it's working. When it's dry, it's dead. Your client goes home and re-wets their hair. You're gonna get post-color processing happening. So that's what's special about Stop. So this is like everything. So it does bring the pH back down, and it does shut the cuticle. Okay, here we go. So team, let me show you the mannequin. We did the back, high and low, back, high and low, side, high and low, side, high and low, crown, low and low. That's so funny. The top, I'm gonna stand in front. Everything is gonna be brought to the same place. So she's gonna have a drop crown. It's gonna be brighter. Think about if you were cutting someone's hair, and I'll show you with her visual. If I was standing here, and I took, ready G?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm gonna stand here, and I'm going to make sure she's nice and even. If I stood here and cut her hair, ready? I cut her hair. And then I take my next section, right? You see all that traveling, and I cut her hair. See it?
It's gonna get longer and longer.
Longer and longer, correct?
If you don't elevate.
If you don't elevate. So I'm gonna take this to here.
Okay.
So when I'm done and I let it go and her hair splits, I'm gonna have high to low.
With the color.
With the
Placement.
color. Yes.
Placement.
So I'm gonna do the same thing as what I would do for a haircut with her color so that I'm creating that dimension in her hair.
You're specializing the root area,
It seems like that would work very well for like a shag type haircut.
Yes.
So that's kind of how,
It's
one
kind
of
like
the
what we
ways you
do.
can cut a shag.
Yes. So I'm gonna hold this. I'm gonna give it slight elevation. Take my strong weave effect. One's gonna be high, one's gonna be low. So this one I'm gonna take low, right? I'm gonna just use my comb because we're running out of time, so I wanna hurry. So we've got this. This is going to be my color. The next one is going to be my freehand powder lightener. And remember the difference between the two? Freehand powder lightener is what I need for only 7 levels of lift, so I don't want to get her too white, so I don't need all that power. I'm using 20 volume with my freehand. If I were using silver powder lightener, which is a standard foil bleach, I would drop my developer down because remember, I get the power with. Okay, so this one, I'm just gonna fold it one more time because it's in her face here, and I'll flip it back for client comfort.
I have a question as you're working your way on the top. Can you manipulate your high lift to work either softer or stronger with developer?
Yes, your developer is what's gonna give you the lift. Because it is an ammonia, it will give that gas, because ammonia is a gas, it'll give it more power. But if you want control and not to blow out any of the dye that's in there, so for example, we have 12.11 is blue. If you use a higher developer, you're gonna kind of
Bring out the
blow
warmth.
You're gonna blow out some of the tone that's in there. But if you want to zoom in on these real quick, this is what we can add. These were created, actually you can add some of the zero in it as well. These were created for, they're very sheer and they're very lightweight. So you can add these to any of the free or the high lift lighteners, the 12 series, and it will add more tone to the hair.
These are just like pure pigments?
Yeah, they're like tones, but they're not heavy. There's not a lot of background. These are more sheer. Like if you had sheer stockings, that's what these are. Okay, so here, now everything's gonna be brought to there. So again, I'm looking at where this is, and that's where I'm gonna back comb. So this is my low. Let's do, oh no, let me take a bigger, because I only wanna do a series of 3. Here we go. So there's only a series of 3 up here. So strong, pull this out. I'm looking to where this is back combed, I can feel it. So it's right here. I'm going to push, push, push. You can see right where it's gonna be. This is gonna be our color. All right, so what we are going to do, we will process. I will shampoo 2 to 3 times. I will add stop for 3 to 5 minutes. The stop
The
cream,
conditioning, okay.
Yep, the stop cream that has shea butter. Remember, great for textured hair, great for straight hair. And then I will let that process or let that sit for 5 minutes, and then I'll rinse that out and I'll add Bond. Bond is a natural bond builder. I'm gonna add Bond and let that sit on for 5 to 10 minutes. And then once that's finished, I'm going to be using this amazing Free Reign Curl Cream from Bob. If you guys haven't seen this, go behind the bottle, backofbottle.com.
It's kind of
Oh
your
my gosh.
sister brand.
It's our sister brand, Back of Bottle. That's what Bob stands for. So I'm gonna massage this curl cream into this hair, and then after that, I will be doing, oh, this is amazing. I'm going to add the high hydrating moisturizing oil. And this is amazing for any hair. Like, look at that. It's not oily. It's almost like an oil water. Feel that?
Oh, really? Yeah.
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 You put it on your skin. Oh my God, it's amazing. Oh yeah. I love
Drink it, throw a little shot.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so thank you so much. Thank you again, Lupe, for another incredible lesson. Lupe is going to finish up here, process, style, and we'll put a photo here. I know everybody likes to see what it looks like. We always put an after photo, so watch out for that. We'll put it in the feed later today when the whole process is done. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks to Color Space for your support, and thanks to all of you for being open and wanting to be educated.
Yay! See you all next time, 2 weeks. Bye.